You weren't essential to my future. I'm filing for divorce.
Didn't you read the will?
I inherited a quarter of the fortune.
I always believed marriage meant facing storms together, that you were a team no matter what. But that belief shattered just 1 week after my wife Sarah's father passed away. She looked me right in the eye and said, "I want a divorce." It wasn't a discussion. It was a final, absolute decision. It felt like she'd been waiting for that exact moment to deliver the final blow. To really get how much that hurt, you need to know who her father was. William wasn't just rich. He was a force of nature. A self-made giant who built his fortune on pure grit and discipline. He treated everyone with this quiet kindness and a sense of expectation. And for some reason, he treated me, his daughter's average, hard-working husband, with more warmth than she ever did. Sarah hated him for it. To her, William's advice was just meddling. His discipline was control. His support was just him looking down on her. She saw everything he did through a filter of resentment. When I first met her, she was magnetic. She could light up a room just by walking in. I was the steady, grounded one, financially stable. She, on the other hand, just drifted from one failed career to another, never taking responsibility. But she had this incredible charisma, and I told myself she was just a late bloomer who needed the right partner to find her footing. I didn't realize until much, much later that what she really needed was an audience, not a partner. Once we were married, any ambition she had just vanished. I worked long, hard hours to support our lifestyle. She spent her days at brunches, on shopping trips, and delivering these long, dramatic speeches about how constrained she felt by life. All the while, her father was still helping her out financially. Sarah took every dollar he gave her like it was her divine right. And she never missed a chance to let me know just how inadequate my efforts were. Nothing I ever did was good enough. But everything changed the second William died. The fake tears she cried at the funeral dried up instantly. The grief she put on for show was gone. Within days, she was already plotting the next chapter of her life with her inheritance, the life she truly believed she was destined for. She started talking about massive home renovations, extravagant vacations, new cars, designer wardrobes. She spoke with the confidence of someone who could already see the millions sitting in her bank account. She walked around like she was royalty, just waiting for her coronation, fantasizing about the empire she was about to inherit. It wasn't just entitlement, it was pure delusion. She talked about the future as if she wasn't even married, like I was just some temporary inconvenience she was about to get rid of. And I guess, in her mind, that's all I ever was. The night she asked for the divorce, she didn't even hesitate. We were sitting in the living room, and she just calmly said, "We should part ways. You're not essential to my future." She talked to me like I was an old appliance she was finally done with. I remember just staring at her, feeling this weird mix of sadness and complete disbelief. "We just buried your father," I said quietly. "Couldn't this wait?" She rolled her eyes like I was the one being dramatic. "I've made up my mind," she said. "I don't need you anymore. I want freedom." "You've been holding me back." Holding her back. This woman, who had never lifted a finger to support herself, was accusing the man who kept our entire life afloat of being her anchor. But what shocked me the most was how she expected me to just fall apart. She wanted to see tears, begging, desperation. She wanted to feel powerful. Instead, I just looked at her and said, "If that's what you want, I won't stop you." She froze. That was not the reaction she was expecting. But she recovered fast. Entitled people always do, and handed me divorce papers she'd already had a lawyer prepare. I signed them. Not because I wanted to, but because I finally understood the truth. She had never loved me. Not in the way a partner is supposed to love. I was just a stable placeholder for her, a bridge to get her to the money. She practically skipped into the next room to call her friends, celebrating like she just won the lottery. What she didn't know was that life was about to hit her harder than she could ever imagine. When she went to her father's attorney, she walked in dripping with confidence, wearing the most expensive outfit my money had ever bought her. She demanded the inheritance process be handled quickly. She wanted her millions, and she wanted them now. The attorney's response was something that should have been framed and hung on a wall. He just looked at her and asked, "Have you actually read the will?" She hadn't. Of course she hadn't. Williams came with conditions, ironclad, unbendable conditions. In order to touch a single cent of the $400 million estate, Sarah had to do three things. First, she had to hold a legitimate, full-time job. Second, she had to complete a certified financial management program. And third, she had to maintain both of those things for 5 uninterrupted years. If she failed at any point, the entire estate would go directly to charity. She laughed at first. She thought it was a joke. But the attorney wasn't laughing. Her father, the man she always accused of being controlling, had simply wanted her to become a functioning adult, to work, to learn, to grow. He wasn't trying to punish her. He was trying to save her from herself. But the final, crushing blow came next, delivered with calm professionalism. Additionally, Mrs. Richardson, the attorney said, your father allocated 25% of the estate to your former husband. In that one moment, her entire world shattered. She had thrown me away, expecting to be set free by a mountain of cash. Instead, she walked out of that office with nothing, while I inherited more money than she had ever earned in her entire life. And her nightmare was just getting started? For the next 5 years, she completely spiraled. Her job hunt was a total disaster. Employers saw her entitlement, not her potential. She couldn't pass the financial course. She failed it over and over again. She burned through what little savings she had trying to maintain her lavish lifestyle, and then crashed hard into reality. Her friends disappeared. The luxury vanished. She ended up in a tiny apartment, struggling to function in a world where hard work wasn't optional. When the 5-year deadline finally passed, the entire fortune went to charity, exactly as the will had stated. She received nothing. During that time, I built a thriving life for myself. I grew my consulting business, found peace, and rediscovered who I was without her shadow blocking out the sun. The inheritance I received was a meaningful amount, a final nod of respect from William. Then one day a letter arrived. It was from Sarah. The handwriting was shaky. All the arrogance was gone. All that was left was regret. She was begging not for money, but for guidance, for help, for any kind of olive branch I might be willing to offer. I folded the letter and put it away in a drawer, not out of anger. Sarah thought divorcing me would set her free, but in the end, it was me who was set free. You have to earn it. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more.